I'm Kirk Hanson, Executive Director of the Markkula Center for Applied Ethics at Santa Clara University. We're very fortunate to have with us today David Chen, who is the Vice President and General Manager of Microsoft Greater China for Corporate Affairs, Compliance, and Ethics. David has a unique background, having been raised in China, having come to the United States for part of his training, his graduate degrees, PhD, and a Master of Science from Stanford Business School. David has spent many years with General Motors, but is now with Microsoft. He has been involved in bridging the gap between the West and China and the economic development of China in recent years. David, delighted to have you here. Really, I have two questions I want to capture in this brief video. One is, are the values and the ethics really different in China than they are in the United States? We tend to think we have Western values, and somehow there's a debate over whether we impose those on China. Is it your perception, having worked with both sides, that there are differences?
Great question. Having spending kind of half of my life in the U.S., half of my life in China, and worked with the multinational companies in China for the recent years, my personal view is that the ethics, the ethical standards in the China and the West, or East and the West, are pretty comparable. They all want to be a better person to your family, to your friends, to the society. And in fact, some of the maxims is actually pretty similar. In China, it would say, never do things to others you don't want them to do to yourself. Confucius said that. I think and the Buddhism, the Bible, the Christianity has a lot of common things. So I think at an abstract level, the ethics in the two countries actually quite similar. It's just that the recent 30 years of rapid economic change, when people try to going from a very poor status, and sometimes the economic gain was so attractive, they may do things that take them away from the norm, of ethic norm. But I think the time is coming back. You see topics like compliance, corporate social responsibility getting very popular in China, because they know for them to go to the next level of growth and economic prosperity, they cannot be just the low labor cost, cut corners, but doing things in the right way. So,
for Microsoft, of course, the issue of intellectual property has been critical, and whether you get payment for your software. How is that? What's the state of that challenge of getting paid for your software in China and piracy of software, and do you see better days ahead on that?
Certainly better days ahead of that, and the one thing I joined Microsoft is that there's a lot of upside. I think there's a number of fronts that we're working on. First of all, China is on the path of switching a pattern of the growth to more of a knowledge-based, innovation-based. In order to do that, they really have to protect IP. And we know that China is not lacking of IQ, talents, but why there's not a lot of innovation is because this IPR regime is just not there. And the Chinese, whether it be the public industry and the government, recognize the benefits of having a better IP environment. So it's to improve the awareness, improve the legal systems to protect IP, not just for the benefits of a company like Microsoft, but also for the benefits of many Chinese companies today and in the future. The second is that we really want to emphasize creating value for the customer. So make people feel like they want to pay for it, right? It's just that then when the software comes with a computer, they feel like, well, it should be part of it, right? So Microsoft is now moving to the directions of more focusing on the end user, creating the services and the devices that really creating more value than just a piece of software. So as you see the recent announcement of Windows Phone, the tablet like the Surface, it takes Microsoft into a new arena of how to creating more value based on the software. The other thing is very important is that Microsoft creating a platform so many of our partner developers can develop their innovations on top of that. So it's kind of enabler for productivity or more applications to different fields. Hopefully, doing more of those, then we can see the improvements, which we're already seeing in China. But
is the idea that they get a stake in the IP of the add-on combination software?
Absolutely. I think to be successful in any market, particularly in China, is this value creation. Mm-hmm. It's the win-win. It's not zero sum. It's creating value. I learned that at Stanford from you. Negotiating is how to creating value, and that's the same thing with any companies, including Microsoft in China.
Well, your expertise and your experience, half of your life in China and half of your life in the United States, is of a great asset to your company and certainly to those of us who are trying to bring about greater economic development. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you again for the invitation. I feel also honored, also fortunate that today seems China and the U.S. Such an important relationship in many fronts, political, economic, and hopefully my experience could serve not just in industry, maybe in academics as well.
Thank you, David.
Thanks.